Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt. The king of armor destruction is back with another demo for you all today. This is actually a redo or retest, I should say. You may recognize the universal armor name. This is from Tactical Xmen. This is their level 3/3+ silicon carbide polyethylene plate. I tested this in the past. This one is got a tiger on the front, so I don't know if this is the Tiger King or what the difference between this model and the last model is. It's been a little while since we tested it. In full transparency, Tactical Xmen contacted me and asked to retest their plate. This little guy is single curve. You can see that single curve going this way here. It's not multi-curve. It weighs 4 pounds, 8.7 ounces. It is approximately 850 thousandths thick, or 21.6 millimeters. We do things a little different here on my channel. I try to give you guys as much information as possible, whether you're looking to make a purchase or if you're just interested in general about the ballistics and the technology behind how this stuff works. So in order to do that, I try to stick to a lot of NIJ constants that have been set forth, and it's kind of hard out here in my backyard, but we do the best we can. Since this is rifle armor, we shoot at 45 feet. We also shoot at 0 degrees because that's worst case scenario. We use this giant clay briefcase that you see right here filled with Roma Plastilina #1 clay donated by Chavant. This is our compressible media, so again we get maximum energy transfer on the plate. We strap it here so the plate's not flying around. Again, all worst case. Since this employs a ceramic strike face, a bird just flew by my head, we drop it on its face 2 times per the NIJ standard. Now, something that I've done in our newer testing, you see down here is a C with a check mark. That means I performed a torque test on the plate after I dropped it, and if I hear any kind of crunching, which if I'll shut up and you can kind of listen, you can hear that. That potentially means that I've cracked the ceramic strike face, either because the company's not using any foam, which I do not detect on the strike face, or there's not great adhesion between the strike face and our polyethylene backer. Also, you'll note on this plate right here, #1, you'll see this outer gray ring that I've put here. The reason this plate is so light at 4 pounds, 8 ounces is because the actual ceramic that's the strike face for your rating does not extend all the way to the edge. You see there is a squishy part here, and there is essentially a foam ring that goes all the way around here, and then we likely have rectangle tiles and square tiles that are placed inside of this perimeter that act as the strike face. Now, again, per the NIJ, when they go to test armor, they shoot a minimum of 2 to 3 inches from the edge. They pretty much put 6 shots 2 inches apart, all right down the middle. Effectively, the company is trying to pass off the appearance of a lighter weight plate at the potential loss of ceramic coverage. That's up to you to decide whether you want that weight savings or you want that extra edge-to-edge protection. Again, the NIJ doesn't test shots at the edge unless the manufacturer asks to, so there's kind of that gray area. We also use a chronograph whenever possible because we need to know that velocity. We have a Pro Chrono Pal Chrono DLX that's placed at about 12 feet from the muzzle. It's about 85 to 90 degrees outside today. It's kind of calm, not too humid, so a perfect day for shooting. And finally, we put a spreadsheet here at the beginning and the end of all the different threats that we're going to shoot at it, and I fill that all out at the end so that we can get the velocity and get a confirmation of whether there's a penetration or not, and we can kind of look at the back face and give you a nice little thing at the end and send you on your merry way. Since we have tested this plate in the past, I'm not going to bore you with a whole bunch of multiple rounds of these shots because the plate stopped these last time, but I'm going to start with our 5.56 threats. Our longest barrel length, typically ceramic strike faces of good thickness, are not an issue with stopping these rounds. I have M193, that is the Army's 55 grain full metal jacket round, lead core. I have M855, that is a long-standing Army round, 62 grain lead core with a conical steel penetrating tip. And then I have M855A1, that is the Army's current issue ball round, a evolution of M855. It has a copper core and a larger penetrating arrow head on the top, much harder too. The main thing that I notice with a lot of the import plates is poor adhesion between the ceramic layer and the polyethylene layer. For all of my longtime followers, they'll probably get tired of me saying this, but the better you can adhere all these layers together, the longer the plate's going to last. This is our TC compass with our Turbo 556. So M193 will be the upper part of the plate by his ear. I'm not sure I got a velocity off that. Sorry about that. We shoot off the second one. Might have bumped my chronograph a minute ago or something. All right, now our M855. You know, this actually happened last time where I didn't get a velocity reading off the M193 for some reason. This should be the left side row number 2. Got a velocity that time. Maybe I was aiming too high for the chronograph. Shot number 2 will be over the tiger's eye. Now our A1. And the second shot of A1. Awesome. Since this plate is rated level 3, it wouldn't be complete without throwing some M80 ball at it, which currently, under the NIJ 06 standards, is the only threat rating for level 3. Any of your 5.56, 7.62x3.9, or anything else is considered a special threat rating, and that appends onto that rating. That's usually why the manufacturer uses a plus, but sometimes that's really hard to decipher for you as a consumer because you don't know if the plus means M193 coverage or M855 because it all depends on the material that the company is using for their plate. I have a 24-inch Savage Access 110 tactical left hand with our JK Armament rifle kit on here. So we're going to see well above the 2750 that the NIJ calls for velocity. This is some Poonsang M80 ball from the early 1980s. Got a Crimson Trace Hardline Pro on here. This will be on the left side of the plate. Good velocity off that. This will be on the right side of the plate. And what was the pretty good velocity there. And let's place this guy smack in the center of his mouth. All right, let's go see what we did before we move on. Look at all those shots in that poor little plate. Poor sad little plate. All right, M193 shot was number 1 was right here, number 2. Then M855 shot number 1, number 2. M855A1 shot number 1, number 2. And this plate is pretty crunchy. Not sure how many more shots we can get on this plate. We're gonna have to try. M80 ball shot numbers 1, 2, and 3. Not looking so good, guys. Place those bets in the comments below. My plan is to only use this one plate for this test. Uh-oh, R.A.N.G.E. We have a penetration on that second shot of M193. Yep, that was the second shot. Now we are close to where the ceramic is on that plate because technically the edge of the ceramic is there, so that's about an inch there. but that is more than 2 inches from the edge. We'll have to double check some of these other shots, but that looks like the first shot of M855A1 penetrated as well. Interesting. I'm not sure how much is left on this plate for the other threats I don't want to throw at it. Our M80 ball was stopped though. There's quite a bit of dimples there. Let's see if I can measure that. The old depth gauge here. This guy over here, we can get in there. 51 millimeters, that's concerning, folks. This guy right here, 28 millimeters, and the guy in the middle, 46 millimeters. Now that is above the specification, but that back face needs to be under 44 millimeters, and with my clay being slightly cooler, it's going to show less back face. So in an NIJ test, it's going to show more. I was going to save the second plate and donate it towards a good home, but I'm rather unimpressed with the construction of this plate. We'll show you that in a minute on plate number 1 and 2. So I got plate number 2 strapped up to our clay briefcase. Now I did not drop test this plate because I didn't anticipate using it, so we could see some better results here. But on the last test, we shot our M80A1 and I think our P80 black tip at the Universal Armor, and it penetrated from the longer barrel length. So I have a 13-inch 308. This is a SCAR pistol built on the Imperial Arms receiver, the 80%er, and their MTM lower, which uses our SR25 magazines and a standard AR trigger fire control group. This is the Geisley, I don't remember which particular model. Very nice setup. So I have 2 rounds of M2 AP. We should see, what, like 2,500 feet per second out of them, and then M80A1, those will be first. I have this simulated night vision scope attachment on here from One Leaf AI. It uses, I think, the Sony sensor to kind of simulate night vision by picking up IR light. It's not, you know, true night vision. Kind of testing it out, you pretty much attach it to the end of the scope. I like that you can record things through it. It takes a little bit to get used to, and if you don't have enough rail space, as you can see, it may not work for your gun. Let me see if I hit the record button here. Right ear, or on the left side of the plate. Actually shot that, yeah, not too bad. The second shot, I'll place probably where it says armor. Then our M2 AP to his left side. Looks like we're about 2 inches to the right there. So this last shot will be the bottom right corner. Right ear, or on the left side of the plate. The bottom right corner. Okay, folks, we got fair hits on these shots. M80A1 shot number 1, number 2, and our M2 AP shot number 1 and number 2. I see a bunch of wood on my table. Not a good sign, folks. R.A.N.G.E. We have penetrations on 3 of those 4 rounds. That first round of M2 AP was, or the M80A1 was stopped. Very minimal back face there, but I'm wondering if then after those shots just started separating the ceramic from our backer, which is a big thing that I harp about every single time I test plates like this, is the better adhesion, the better that this plate will perform. All right, now everyone's favorite teardown. This is where we can have some insights to the types of materials that the manufacturer is using. Again, on the first plate, our penetrations were our M193 and our M855A1. It seemed to handle the M80 ball okay, but I think the reason why we saw penetrations possibly on the M193 and the M855A1 is we have very poor adhesion of our ceramic to our backing. So this is plate number 2, and these tiles literally are not glued down in any way, shape, or form to the strike face. Oh, I'm bleeding because I stabbed myself with some ceramic. Yay! Here is our silicon carbide. It measured 330 thousandths thick. That's plenty thick for a lot of threats. Seems a little on the fragile side, so I'm not sure, again, what the purity rating on this is or not. But our foam ring, 810 thousandths on the bottom, 858 over here, and on the top is the largest. Let me get up there at 930 thousandths. There is a little bit of foam on the front of our strike face, but this is more of a cloth than a foam. We need to add maybe an 1/8 inch of high density foam on the front to act as a drop face protectant, and we need a ton more glue, adhesive, or something to bond these two layers together. I'm sorry if the gimbal is moving on us, but look at how easily these tiles come apart. So what happens, is that any of the prior shots that we took at it just work on separating these tiles off here. I mean, look at how easy that peeled off there. And I don't think, there's some kind of adhesive on there. You can see it right there, but it's not doing a very good job. I honestly can say I wouldn't recommend buying these unless this was the only thing you could get in your country or locality. Polyethylene didn't seem too bad. It kind of looks like it is pressed. It was hard for me to get apart, and it's not peeling like a book, but I don't know how much of it is pressed. There's the front side of that guy. So there you have it, folks. Our tactical Xmen level 3/3+ Tiger plate universal armor. Well, Tiger King, the king of armor destruction, won again. If anything that you can take away from some of these videos like this is that personal protection equipment, this body armor, is bullet resistant, not bulletproof. There's always someone a step ahead of you. I tend to try to be as neutral as possible and not, say, don't buy this, I recommend this or whatever this. I tend to give you guys quite a few options. And I think this is only the second time that I've done this, but based on this particular plate's performance, I would not recommend buying this unless this was the only thing that you could get. I think the poor adhesion between our ceramic layer and our polyethylene was detrimental to the performance of this plate. It should have stopped M193 with that thick ceramic strike face. It did stop the M855 and our M855A1, at least one of those shots. Our 308 shots, it stopped. The back face was, a little on the excessive side, but it stopped it. Polyethylene seems to be good to go. It's just that ceramic and the adhesion between the two was not very good. Pasta lasagna, wouldn't want to get any on ya. I'm gonna get out of here, but at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible. Number one is my Patreon and Subscribe Star fans. If you want to support me, I have a link tree in the description below for all the different ways that you can go check out some of my other content, like on Instagram, or if you want to go to my Patreon or any of that, it's in a link tree below. Number two is Tactical Xmen, again, who in full transparency provided those plates for me like, 3 or 4 months ago for me to test with no strings attached. And of course, number three is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range.